Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. Extra Deck Monarchs. I've uploaded like an in real life profile for Domain a couple of weeks ago. Should be up around, one of the annotations. But people kept asking for like an extra deck variant, and people know me. I always prefer Domain, at least from, back in 2016, right? When we got a structured deck. But there are options compared to back then with Brilliant Fusion, Seraphinite. Sadly, we don't have the capability to play those anymore. Imagine Konami bringing them back, but that's probably wishful thinking. So let's see, what are the options? You see them here on, the upper part of the video, but we'll come back to those in a couple of moments. But this is the current deck I have. But there is more options. Again, more of that in a couple of moments. So let's see, for the current main deck. It's of course 40 cards sharp. You want the deck, or you want to have the deck as consistent as possible. Plus there is an extra deck. Has been a while, but we'll come back to that again in a couple of moments. So the main deck feels kind of similar as the one that I showed off, featuring Domain. The biggest change, I guess, was triple Aether, right? Aether, because you want to search this over Sail Lake Lair, because again, Kuros, back as it was in 2016, you want to pop your own return. Again, return prevents you from using your extra deck, and on Kuros is fine. Kuros is terrible to draw. The one of Majesty, because again, you want to attack, at least it's searchable off of return, right? Plus it has the Monarch spells, and at least the Monarch, stats, as you know. This is an iffy one, but I still think it's one of the best, if not the best, tribute monster currently in the game / in the deck. So I'm still running 3. Like, I see a lot of, extra deck Monarch variants running only 1 or 2. Okay, it doesn't have, the stats for tenacity, but it's still a game changer. Your opponent needs to have multiple outs for this particular card. So I still think it's a 3 off, maybe 2 off, but again, it might be a bit personal preference. So that's it for the tribute lineup. So no, surprises, I think, here. Other than that, so the Tribute Father, and again, nothing too spectacular. Fenrir at 3, this card might get hit on our next Forbidden and Limited list. Who knows, we might get that soon. And there's actually more options, or at least there are more options, as you see here, but more of that in a couple of moments. So Fenrir, triple Fenrir, I think is stable. Then, there are some options for, playing for Tribute Father, and for an extra deck variant, I prefer this. I prefer Lubellion / Bestial. So I think one Lubellion is fine. Potentially going first, having Lubellion, discarding it to search Magnamut, and that searches Dru's Worms, so 2/2, so 5 Bestials in total. Plus, all of them could potentially be Tribute Father or a Tribute Monster. You can just Tribute Summon for Dru's Worm, for example, if you really want, or if you're really desperate. Plus it's removal, so I think these are fantastic. Depends again on our upcoming ban list. If Dark is a heavy plate attribute, and the Bestials are an instant stable for the deck, so they're just super versatile. So again, no surprises, I think, for this particular one. And then you already saw the cards, and this might get hit on our next Forbidden and Limited list, looking at Brilliant Fusion. This kind of works very similar to Brilliant Fusion. Again, Brilliant Fusion at least gave you the extra normal summon, while Brilliant Fusion with Fallen of Albus doesn't do that. Then again, it puts up Mirror Jade, etc. That's really cool. Plus, and that's why it's there, and I think it's the biggest choke point of the deck, is 1 Idea and 1 Eidos. Again, Idea is the light needed to send, one of the few lights, but the preferred light to send to the graveyard. If you have Tenacity or, Pantheism banished, you can get it back when it's sent to the graveyard, right, off of Brilliant Fusion. Drawing Albus, it hurts. It really, really hurts. So again, I think that's the biggest brick of the deck. With Brilliant Fusion in the old school days, you're running like double, what is it? What's Lazuli? Yeah, Lazuli. But I'm not so sure if I really want to run like double Fallen of Albus. That doesn't really sound too good. The one of Eidos is still there just in case if you draw, Idea in your opening hand, for example, and you can search Eidos. The graveyard effect is still there between, both these two, so I guess it's fine still. The biggest brick of this engine is drawing Fallen of Albus. So that's it for this one. As for the spells, again, staples. Triple Pantheism, Triple Tenacity, Triple Stormfort, fantastic removal, like against Burly, against Kashtera. Again, Kashtera might get nuked on our list. Still double domain because, you know, lording the levels might still be important. And you might think you're playing an extra deck variant. You don't, at least you only need to run one. I conquer, it comes up, like maybe you want to discard this from Pantheism and you need a second copy to search, potentially with Tenacity, because you want to reduce those levels. So I still think you need to run 2, and you know, same for return, I think 2 is just fine to search. Double Prime, and that's also a small difference compared to the domain build. Double Prime, obviously, because you want to make, where is it? Yeah, a couple of moments. One of the best extra deck monsters currently the deck has to offer. It needs more. But, I mean, it's just potentially set one up in the graveyard and then, you know, use this one as like continuous trap to potentially recycle those Monarch spells and traps. So that's it for the main deck. Again, 40 cards sharp. Now quickly the side deck, I guess, not too important because it's very similar to the one that I used or uploaded before. Nip is a super staple currently. If you have the space, you can definitely go for, you know, extra copies for Majesty's Fiend or Vanity's Fiend if you know opted to side deck those. This is a new one, well, not really new, but Dark Simorgh, as you might have seen in one of my previous videos. Simorgh was side-decked, or was a choice back in the old school days, 2016. As you know, this card prevents your opponent from setting back row, right? So against something like Labyrinth, it's cool to get it on field. You can summon it from the deck with Ether, so that's always nice. Against, you know, back row heavy deck, Dark Simorgh is definitely a card to go for. Change of Heart is staple, Lightning Storm versatile, back row removal, instant staple if you're going second. And of course, if you're going first, Judgment might be there as an option, but I'm not so sure. You don't really want to protect domain in this situation, right? So, but it's there as an option. Now, as for the extra deck, quite, you know, quickly, again, no surprises, simply because, you know, I think it's pretty straightforward, it's not something new. We have Albion, Lubellion, and of course Mirror Jade as that small, you know, like Albus engine to end on, what is it, Lubellion and Mirror Jade, for example. That also gives you an extra monster on field to tribute summon, but Mirror Jade is fine. Keep in mind, Brennan Fusion locks you into fusion summons. You know, that's something important. One of the reasons why this deck has potential, could have potential, is Pleiades. Keep in mind, you can only use or summon him with 2 lights, and that's of course the Monarch trap. And that's a huge bummer, but again, Pleiades, I guess it's still fine, but it's not that great against Kashtera. Other cards for the rank 5 portion is Shark Fortress, potentially go for game. Durandal also has like built-in negation on field monster effects or normal spells and traps, keep that in mind. Okay, your opponent can pop something, but I mean, popping a return or a domain, it's fine though, if you can negate stuff from your opponent. And here, the Bestials could come in clutch, you know, rank 6, Beatrice is there, M7 is there, potentially overlaying for Gaia, and where is it? Because of this. So an easy rank 6 engine could come in clutch, potentially, you know, upgrading for Zeus. Again, you know, people might not expect that one at all in extra deck Monarchs, and then just basically filler, just in case if you have the capability to go for Ether and Erebus, both level 8, maybe go for Titanic Galaxy. It's there as just an extra option. Now, for other main deck options, there's a couple of them. The first one is Quick Draw Synchron, kind of popular back in 2016, you know, go for Ultima Soulkin, go for Crystal Wing, for example. I'm not so sure about that, you know, especially without Brilliant Fusion, the lack of, you know, extra free level 5s on the field is much harder compared to it was back in 2016, so I'm not a huge fan of Quick Draw Synchron. Another option here in the main deck is this one, and I'm sure people would ask, is Megazaborg, and of course a potential, you know, extra deck oriented, maybe even like more Antis, of course, the Fossil Fusions. There is the other one as well, it should be in my bulk here somewhere. But I'm not so sure about that. Like, Megazaborg in theory sounds cool, destroying your opponent's extra deck, but again, like, I think there's just better options, and sure, like, most deck can just easily recover from that, so it's not a game-winning move as you might think it is. I've ran Zaborg, used its effect and still lost from a super extra deck oriented deck, so I'm not so sure about Megazaborg. I don't think it's worth it. 2 options left. Another option here is to run more Kashtera cards. Obviously, potentially to go for like a rank 7, you know, Exceed place, or have like rank 7 Exceed place ready. Potentially Zeus Father as well, with Dracosec giving you tokens, Tribute Father, Big Eye, you know, gain control from a stronger monster from your opponent. Ogre is an option to search from Fenrir, because Ogre, as you know, has like that Monarch, you know, stats. Potentially searching or making a Tenacity live in your hand, so that's cool. But you know how it goes, right? You're drawing this over Fenrir most of the time, right? I'm not running this in Domain, and I'm probably not running this in Extra Deck Monarchs. But something that I'm definitely contemplating in an Extra Deck variant is running like 1 or 2 copies of Unicorn with Theosis, Search Ball. It locks you into, what is it, Exceeds, and Birth as well, as potentially Tribute Father exceeds, pressure, forces out, or, you know, yeah, basically forces out hand traps from your opponents. So it's an option, but again depends on like how heavy is, you know, Konami is going to hit this deck on the Forbidden and Limited list, but it's there in the back of my mind. And then last, I think the engine that has like the biggest potential for the future, but for now the rank 5 department for, you know, for like options, I think it's a bit too limited, but there is potential for this one, and that's, you know, because Emergency Teleport is still, you know, we got it back to 3 some time ago, some formats ago, and you know, it searches blue layer, and that's cool, and blue layer searches red layer, right, Super Quantum red layer plus red layer, very versatile, very similar to the Bestials, Tribute Father, rank 5. So there is definitely potential for this engine, and not to forget, red layer, unlike blue, which is a psychic, is a warrior, and that brings me, yep, where is she with this? Isolde. Thing is that, as you know, it is not new. Isolde could send, what is it, 1 equip from your deck to the graveyard, like Living Fossil for example, and it searches Idea from the deck, etc. You know how it goes, giving you the extra tributes. I don't think it's worth it for now, but imagine like in the future if we get like another solid warrior that goes along with this, like double warrior featuring an easy Isolde. I might run it, or might try to run it, or start to run it. And access code, I guess, is another filler card because, you know, you can upgrade it from Isolde. So that's it, Extra Deck Monarchs for the current format after, you know, the most recent TCG set. But who knows, you know, our next Forbidden and Limited list might change it, and I'm looking at Brandon Fusion itself. Okay, so, you know, other options are definitely welcome, other profiles you want to see, let me know. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching, feel free to leave a comment or like if you enjoyed the video. Big signing out. Peace.